Everybody, this is Perch. In the past, I've made the comment of why are you letting, if you're DC, for example, why are you letting other people, why are you letting YouTube channels, Bleeding Cool, and others, why are you letting them control the narrative on your company? Why don't you get out in front of it? You got a bunch of people saying that DC Comics is going to be shut down. You got people saying that DC Comics is going to be bought by Steve Geppi, which, I mean, in light of the Marvel Random House news is quite hysterical. But you have these people who are basically trying to convince everybody that come July, DC were not going to be producing books. And it was 100% clear that DC would be doing that. They were signing contracts to people to basically, they're people I know, people who have been on this show. I had two authors for DC who are doing books, on the air in front of everybody, talk about how I've got a contract to do more. We're planning other stuff. That this is a not true story. Yet the rumors persisted, and in fact, in many cases, they got more. Conspiracy like about, the people at DC don't know. They're just kind of wandering around stupidly, and it's it's an AT&T decision. One day the hammer's going to fall. We have better sources. This guy on YouTube has a better source for what's happening in the corporate boardroom of AT&T than the publishing arm themselves, and that continued. And I said for quite a while, at some point, I think DC needs to step in front of it and just, show the proof. They've got it. They know what they're doing. They can just say, look, these things, make the statement. This stuff is crap. Here's what we're doing. Got a publishing schedule for the rest of the year. This is what's going on. Why wouldn't they say that? I was very frustrated and continue to be a little frustrated. I think, I think truth is better than, playing these games. And so I would have rather them come out and say it. But there is one reason why they didn't say it, and it's not that the reason that I would hear from some of the writers at DC, which is, we don't want to dignify those comments with a response. That's not really the case. There's a reason why the people higher up at DC likely said nothing, and the reason is very similar to why the Obama campaign, the Obama presidency, didn't step in and produce a birth certificate when the whole birther controversy was going on. And if you remember, if you truly go back and look at history, a lot of people think that the birther kind of, that whole dialogue was a bunch of Republicans who were attacking Obama. But if you actually, remember, it was actually Hillary Clinton that did a lot of this in the primary. She was the one really pushing this birther concept in the primary against Obama, and then after he was elected, it kind of got taken over by people on the right. But Obama, in a minute, could have ended the controversy by simply, producing the birth certificate from Hawaii that he has. I'm curious now how many people in the video are going to show up in the comments going, "Oh, that's never been proven." No, it has. It has though. Okay, look, I'm with people on a lot of different ideas, but some things are done. But the reason why he didn't do it is because it was politically advantageous for him not to. He was able to basically portray his critics as lunatics. And even though he had a lot of critics who were not birthers, he had people who didn't like his policies, who were not every day screaming about his birth certificate. These are people who just felt like he was making bad decisions as a president. By keeping the fringe alive, by not ending that, by allowing these people to continue to go on the news and other places and claim that, he has no birth certificate, it's a big conspiracy, it's a big cover-up, he basically was able to frame all of his opposition as crazy. If you disagreed with Obama's policies, people who were around him would say things like, "Oh, are you a birther too?" They were able to basically hijack that movement to their own advantage, and they did. It helped him out politically quite a bit. It is one of the reasons why he was reelected. He was able to frame all of his opposition as nuts. This is an old political tool. So when you look at DC and you look at some of what's gone on here with why they haven't just put this rumor to rest, it's because it does allow them to basically group everybody who is upset about their content as being crazy. And you see this going on with Marvel. You see this going on with comics in general. Why is it that you can go on Twitter and you can say, I think the prices are too high on comics, and you will have people from the companies immediately label you as Comicsgate? Why do they do that? Because it's convenient. Because you can take any criticism and you can attach it to the most polarizing aspects of it and basically deflect. What would you rather do? Would you rather go into a conversation about why you've been too aggressive on inflation and why you're pricing some comics out of the market, or why your shipping schedule is nuts, or why your art teams are you're paying less for art and the quality reflects that? You can have a nuanced conversation about those items, or you can simply label all of your critics a bunch of hateful bigots, which is what people have done. It is much easier to win the argument if you could portray the person you're arguing against as having the most extreme side of the argument, even when they don't. And I'm saying this just as, I don't know, not a public service announcement, just like a please wake up and realize this. When you're going at, the fastest way to diffuse and in many cases win some of these discussions is you've got to get them on fair ground. And if you are having this argument and you're watching your opponent, you're watching the person you're debating with, categorize you as the most extreme view, you don't follow that game. You've got to shut it down. You've got to ignore that. You can't feed it because it is a deflection technique. It is absolutely what goes on a lot of times in comics. I mean, look, the facts are facts. I do those numbers videos and they are black and white. They're not emotional. It's data. You believe it or you don't. And sometimes that data is convenient to people who are angry at Marvel, and sometimes it's not. The Thor comics, the Jane Foster Thor run, sold well, sold better. That is a hard fact. You cannot come in and want to try and frame the argument a different way by saying, well, wait a minute, those comics aren't sold through to customers. I mean, that's not a relevant argument. Because if you're going to use that argument, then you can't then turn around and be gleeful when you see Miss Marvel cratering when they relaunched it, because it did. The numbers are the numbers, and sometimes they give us things that agree with us, and sometimes they do not. But I like to put out the hard facts there because it's important to kind of really understand this is what's going on and try not to get sucked into that game, and it is a game, of basically we're going to make ourselves immune from any criticism by portraying the people doing it as the most lunatic possible people we can think of. You'll notice that the quote-unquote Comicsgate bubble has grown a lot. When it first came out, it was fairly small. It was talking about when people were negatively commenting about it, it was a fairly narrow set of viewpoints, mainly around treatment of women and minorities online. That was really what people were attacking it for. Over the years, that bubble has grown significantly. Are you dissatisfied with some of the art in a comic book? Congratulations, you're Comicsgate now. That's how you get labeled, because it's just a convenient way to beat on people. And to be fair, it goes the other direction too. The bubble in which we're going to label people, whether it's SJW or Comicsgate or whatever it happens to be, is huge. And it's deflection. And there's a reason why they do it. Again, why does DC not get in front of these rumors? Because it allows them a very easy punching bag. DC knows they're publishing comics after June. They know they have things they're going to print and send to stores in July. They know this. By not getting in front of that, they allow the people making these claims to just look foolish, and they do. Even if you like these people, and this is not a knock on anyone who's made those comments, it's just simply, at this point, it looks foolish. It damages your credibility if you're saying this. And DC knows that. And that is exactly why they're going to let it continue as long as they can, because it takes the people who are their opposition, and it gives them a very easy target to say, look, this crazy person here thinks we're not even going to publish comics in June. Can you believe that? I watched a creator at DC, an artist, uh, basically somebody saying, hey, this price for for the that was it. Which comic was it? It's the one that Tom King's writing right now. Not Rorschach and not Batcat. It's a Strange Adventures. Okay, it's basically saying, hey, look, these comics are too expensive. It's too expensive to have a decompressed, conversation through this comic. I $3.99 for this is too much. And the response from this artist was, oh, you probably think the comic isn't even going to be published in July. So what do you care? Like, nobody had said anything about that, but it was an amazing deflection. So I just want to point that out to people. I'm sure, by the way, people can listen to this video and maybe they support Obama or don't support Obama. I used that analogy earlier. I'm sure that will trigger a couple people. I don't know. It's just I'm telling you, this is the game that's being played. You can observe it. You can work with it if you like, or we can continue to deny it. Whatever you want to do, it's your party. I'm just telling you, this is how things happen. And the part that drives me nuts is that there are absolutely things that we need to address in this comic industry around cost, around distribution, around all kinds of things. There are real problems. And as long as we continue to put the most amount of focus on the silliest stuff, that those problems will not be solved. Period. That's my point of view. That's where I'm coming from. For what it's worth. All right, what do you think? Beat me up all you like. Go nuts, folks. That's what we're here for. Like and subscribe, and thanks for listening.